Hey everybody, on today's video I'm going to describe what is going on with trying to find top dead center on an old harmonic balancer, and also using a method where you put a straw into the first cylinder and just sort of see when it stops rising as you're rotating the balancer. There's different ways to do it. Somebody just told me that you can rotate the crank, but I'm pretty sure that they don't know that the crank is not accessible because it's all connected with the transmission there. But yeah, so I understand that there's the markings on the harmonic balancer which indicate top dead center, which is at the top of the piston's travel up the cylinder. When it gets to the very top, that's top dead center. That's what that means. I also heard that you set up the distributor so that the rotor is sending the electricity to the number one spark plug, right? So it goes on like this, right? So that's where the number one spark plug is. It's going to that cylinder right there with the straw sticking out of it, right? So you line up the rotor so that it goes zap and it sends that spark to the first cylinder when you're starting up the engine, so that the firing sequence 1 5 3 6 2 4 begins like that. Spark, 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 right, as it rotates, and it rotates counterclockwise. But anyways, and so apparently you don't have to turn the balancer. You can do something else like turning the crank, right? But I can't do that, so I'm turning the balancer, and I used a rope and some of these welding gloves so that I can handle the rope and turn it. But man, is it ever like a hard job. It's a really, really hard job to do this. When the engine hasn't been broken in and it's not all smooth, and all the cylinders and stuff, it's super, super, super hard. So, yeah. So, apparently the marks in the balancer can be wrong. They can be unreliable, which is good news for me, because the methods that I've been using have been to understand, watch, and determine when the number one cylinder is on its compression stroke coming up before the spark plug ignites the fuel and air mixture. Boom, and then it pushes the cylinder down, which is the power stroke, which is going down, and it's turning the crank, and it's transferring energy through various different pathways that make motion in the vehicle. And so this straw is now stuck, so I think that's top dead center, probably. So the timing marks are off, right? So my timing is supposed to be 5 degrees, whatever the hell that means, before top dead center, right? But somebody told me that just a quarter of an inch is probably a good, estimation of what 5 degrees could be. But I'm gonna have to back it up a little bit, because as you see, the rotor and the distributor has gone past the point of sending the spark to the first spark plug. It needs to be a tiny, tiny, tiny bit more this way, right? So let's see if I can show you. Let's see if I can show you the work as it happens. Let's see if I can show you. I don't know, what would be a better way to do this? Maybe popping it up against the distributor cap. Maybe jamming it in there. Jam it in there like that. Alright. So it sucks. So I'm gonna the engine spins clockwise. So the engine spins this way, right? So I'm going to turn it this way to reverse it, to release the straw, but also to set the rotor back to firing at the first cylinder. That's the wildest ride that straw ever went on in its whole life, I tell ya. Alright, just a little bit more. Alright. Alright, so I think I'm gonna leave it there. I think I'm gonna leave it there. Right? I think I'm gonna leave it there. I think that's gotta be, you know, that's gotta be, that's gotta count for something. You know, the cylinder is definitely on a compression stroke. It's slightly before top dead center, as they say. The rotor is sending the spark to the first cylinder, and that's the first cylinder in the firing order that I just showed you guys. I'm gonna put all this back on here. Right, put this piece of tape back on here. Put this one back on there like that. Right. All right. So maybe that was top dead center, somewhere around there. Maybe. I don't know why I did that. Oh well, whatever. Okay, so yeah. So that's that, and I'm gonna get on with some other stuff. The oiling system. All right, there's a partial flow oil filtration system that's used on the Rambler. It's got a couple of pipes that come from here, and they go up into the T in the cylinder head, right? So the oil goes in from up here. So this is the feed line. It goes in, and then it comes out, goes into the T, lubricates all this, right? And then it comes out of here, and then it wraps around. And in the stock application, there's a filter base that attaches right here, and the filter is upside down, so it screws on like this, and kind of makes a bit of a mess when you take it off. But I don't have one of those. I don't have one of those, so I was thinking about using something else, right? But etc., right? But after it leaves the fuel filter in the stock application, it comes all the way down this side, and it goes into a fitting that's similar to this, you know, like a street elbow, and it goes back down inside the crankcase. But I couldn't really find one on the internet, and so what I started doing was thinking that maybe I could just use a different, you know, remote oil filter mount. You know, it basically will do the same thing, but it's just a little bit different. You know, right? Okay. So this is it, right? Right, so just imagine that this is, you know, the oil filter, you know, base, which it is, right? In the olden days, it would just attach onto here, but it would kind of be like this, right? So the filter would go on upside down. I don't really think that's a very awesome thing, but I'm pretty sure they did it because of the water pump right here. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah. But I was thinking, instead of putting it there, I was thinking of putting this maybe over here on the firewall, you know, like mounting it there, and then having the hoses, you know, like this one would go from, you know, the feed up into the, you know, the T here, right? And then another link, which would be, you know, the same size as this. It would go from the other end of the T, right here, and go over to the filter base, right here. And then after that, the return line, which is apparently always larger, right? This is a 5/16 hose, right? So it would go from the oil filter base back down around and then go back into the return down into the crankcase. So that's something that I'm working on. Originally I was just gonna stick it right here somehow, you know, like get another bracket, you know, attach it to here and also maybe to here or something like that, or maybe here, right? Get another bracket so I can like swing, you know, the way that the bolts attach on there, right? Attach something onto this and then attach that onto there, right? And just have that sitting there. I mean, like the filter definitely isn't as big as the stock application. Filter was pretty big back then, but anyways, so yeah, so that's what I'm working on. I got the starter all put in there. That was a bit of a hard time, and also putting on the Fabrica strap assembly that is associated with the clutch linkage here. Yeah, the threads were a little bit, you know, sticky, you know, going in there. And my neighbor actually gave me a tap and die set, and I was actually going to chase the threads. But then when I was starting to do it, I was thinking, you know what, maybe if I mess it up, it's not going to be good. I don't have a lot of experience chasing threads and like stuff like that with tap and die set, so I'm just going to leave it. And so I just screwed it in there, and now it's in there. Yep. All right. I'm going to get back at it. Okay. 1958 AMC Rambler Super. Part, well, I think this might be 34. Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.